Hello, welcome everyone. This is Corey here, back at you. I missed you guys. Welcome to the Offtop podcast. I'm your host, Corey Phillips. I know we missed you guys a week ago. Apologize for that. I had a lot of stuff going on with the move I'm making right now, but I'm here this week, special edition, Monday edition of the Offtop podcast. Like, subscribe, share the page, tell your friends, your brothers, your mom, your dad, your neighbor, your sister, your coworker, whoever. Like, subscribe, and share. But it's good to be with you guys on this Monday evening, episode 4? Episode 4 of the podcast. I got Carson back there working the camera angles. Lance working the mic check 1, 2. But it's good to be with you guys, back at it. An eventful week it has been for me personally and in the world of sports. We'll get to the sports stuff in a second. I have had a hell of a week. And in case you guys didn't know, I was moving this past week, and I need to say one thing to anybody out there who is thinking about moving to a new home. If you're if you're a single parent, I spent a little bit of extra money to hire movers to move my stuff, and I'm gonna tell you what, it was probably the best money I spent on movers, because I mean, my daughter's stuff, my stuff, it's a lot for one person to do this on my own, And I thought about calling some friends, maybe coworkers, maybe like, hey, what's going on? We haven't talked in a minute. Would you come over and help me move? And I wouldn't get a direct answer from some of them. Some of them maybe you said no directly, and that's okay. I'd rather get a direct answer than a roundabout answer. You feel me? But in any event, I didn't want to go through the hassle of asking more people, trying to get them to commit, help me move my stuff, and then it takes a long time, and then I would have to get a truck and all that other stuff. I just didn't want to go through it. So I just hired movers, spent some extra money hiring movers. I'm telling you, I got my stuff moved to my new place in half the time it probably would have took me if I had friends working it. Straight up. I don't like moving. I don't like moving, period. My back hurts. I'm tired. It always takes more than a day. Like this move that I just did took me like 3 or 4 days, so I'm not going to lie. But I was tired, and then I had to work, get up and go to work, get the kids to school, all that stuff. Man, I'm telling you, I slept, and my daughter was like, today, she was like, what did you do today, Dad? And I'm like, I slept. She's like, you slept the whole time we were gone at school? I was like, no, I got up and used the bathroom. And then I went back to bed. I watched a movie, didn't even make it through to 30 minutes of the movie. I passed out. And I said it from the moment I left work yesterday. Don't call me, don't text me, don't do anything, because I'm not coming in. So that's been my week. But enough about me. Let's get into some sports stuff. We got a lot to get into, a lot to unpack. It's been an eventful weekend. It's been an eventful week. Monday night game just ended. Final score: Chargers 28, Raiders 14. Raiders' first loss of the season. And here's one thing I'm gonna say about the Raiders. The Raiders have impressed me because they were They were one of the 2 undefeated teams that were left coming into this week, and they've beaten some legit teams. Some really good teams, and they had the number 1 ranked offense going into the night's game. The Chargers have a really good defense, so it wasn't surprising to me. I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game. It was only high scoring for one of the teams, namely the Chargers. But Chargers got out to a big lead early. They were up 21-0 at halftime. I thought the Raiders were keeping it close. They couldn't get anything on the offensive end. I think that's one of the deficiencies of the Raiders is that they don't have enough explosiveness on the offensive end as far as wide receivers. Last year they had Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar had a great season last year. He's gone. He's in New England now. So they're relying on basically one main target, and that's Darren Waller, who is probably the best tight end besides Travis Kelce in the league. But that's Derek Carr's main target, and when you only have one really good available wide receiver or tight end, whichever you want to go with, it kind of helps the defense a little bit key in on that, especially when you don't have a running game to speak of. Josh Jacobs has been in and out of the lineup, injured, stuff like that. They've made it work. The defense has played well, but tonight it looks like it just caught up with them. But that being said, good game by the Chargers. Justin Herbert, what can you say about the guy? 25 for 38, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Great numbers. Derek Carr, mediocre at best. Justin Herbert's quarterback rating was 107.6. Derek Carr, 21 for 34, 196 tonight, 2 touchdowns. He had a pick late as they were driving. If you look at the rushing numbers, as a team, the Vegas carried the ball 18 times for 48 yards. The Chargers, 34 carries for 168 yards. You're not winning a football game. You're not going to come back from a football game if you can't run the football. Austin Eckler had a great game, 15 carries for 117 and a touchdown. That's solid. And then you look at the receiving numbers. Jared Cook it looked like he went to he scored. Justin Herbert scored 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to his tight end, to 2 different tight ends. Jared Cook, which I should have started in fantasy today, but this week. That's another story. Jared Cook looked like he's back to his old ways. 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets. The Raiders trying to spread the ball around a little bit. Darren Waller is your best player on the offensive end, in my opinion. 4 catches for 50 yards. He was targeted 7 times. He had a touchdown. They're trying to spread the ball around. And they didn't even have, be honest with you, if you look at the game, Justin Herbert he tried to target Mike Williams, but he was getting double teamed all night. He only had 1 catch for 11 yards, but they didn't really need him. Keenan Allen, 7 catches for 36, a little short intermediate route that he was going. Jared Cook is just a big target, especially when you get inside the 20. And Austin Eckler had a great game. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Chargers. They move to first place in the AFC West. Because you got the Raiders at 3-1, you got the Chargers at 3-1, and don't forget about your Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. So the AFC West is really interesting right now. Let's think about it for a second. The Chargers, they're calling Justin Herbert the phenom. The young rookie quarterback, well, he's not a rookie anymore. He's going in his 2nd year. The man can play. I like Justin Herbert. I had him in fantasy last year. He is fantastic. But if you look at the AFC West, guess who's sitting at the bottom? The Kansas City Chiefs. Who would have thunk the Kansas City Chiefs will be at the bottom of the AFC West? No, not me. When you have a quarterback by the name of Patrick Mahomes who throws up 300 yards plus and averages 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, that defense is a problem. And I said it on a previous show. That defense is something to worry about. And if you look at it from the standpoint, now the Broncos, they're going to come back down to earth. They got some tough games coming up in the next few weeks. Broncos are not going to stay 3-1, but they've managed to be relevant at the moment. But the Broncos will come back down to earth. Do I think this is the end for the Raiders, or at least the beginning of the end for the Raiders? No, but the Raiders, they'll do what they do best. I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule, and I can pull their schedule up, but they didn't look well tonight. They did not look good. The Chargers, on the other hand, they have won their games that they've played. I mean, the botched flag at the end of the game against the Cowboys, the Chargers should be 4-0, to be honest with you. The Chargers are a legit team. They're here to play. And it'll be interesting how Kansas City rebounds. I mean, they have to be fully aware that they're at the bottom right now. Staring up at the Broncos and the Raiders and the Chargers. I know that doesn't sit well. They got a tough schedule, though. They got the Bills next week on Sunday Night Football. That's a huge game. Playing a red-hot Buffalo Bills team. After that, it lightens up a little bit. They're on the road at Washington. They should win that. They're on the road at the Titans, which the Titans are not looking very good either. So that's some concern there. And they have the New York Giants. Those are their next 3 games, and then they're at home against the Packers. So their next 4 games, 2 of them are prime time. The Giants game is on Monday Night Football. I don't even know who's going to watch that game. That's terrible. That is a terrible Monday Night Football game. If you were to come at me and be like, hey, Corey, you going to watch Monday Night Football? Guess who's on? No, who? Who is it? It's the Giants and it's the Chiefs. Oh, my Lord. Now, for fantasy owners, hey, man, I have Patrick Mahomes in my league. I have Tyreek Hill in another league. Or you think I'm not chomping at the bit for that matchup? Now, we'll see how the bye weeks go, because this is that point of fantasy where, I mean, we're in the early stages. You have every single player available to you. So for fantasy owners out there who haven't played a long time or played in the last couple years, the waiver wire is your friend at that point. I work the waiver wire every week with a full roster. If you're not getting me points in a couple weeks, 3 weeks in a row, I'm done with you. Bye. I'm gone. You're gone. I haven't made a lot of waiver wire picks or pickups in the last. I didn't do any last week. I didn't need to. But the waiver wire is your friend, especially when it comes to bye week. So we'll see. And you kind of weed away some of the good teams and the bad teams. You'll see the teams who are actually legit and the teams who suck. That's just basically it. But the Kansas City Chiefs got some work to do. I think the Chargers are a real threat here. A real serious threat. If you pull up the Chargers schedule, I already told you the Chiefs schedule. They got out of those next 4 or 5 games, they got 2 tough games. So, will the Chiefs hang in? We will see. The Chargers, on the other hand, tough games coming. At home against the Browns. The Browns got that. Even though the Browns did not look good last week. I mean, Baker Mayfield. That's probably one of the worst games I've ever seen him play, college or pro. It was bad. That defense, though, is really good. They have the Browns at home. After that, they're on the road at the Ravens. Tough game. On the road in Baltimore. Tough game. Back home against the Patriots, who really impressed me last night, even though they came away with the loss. Mac Jones really impressed me, and I said this from the start. Mac Jones is going to be one of those quarterbacks out of the rookie class. Mac Jones is going to be one or two of those quarterbacks is going to be really good. After that, they're at home or they're on the road against Philadelphia. Philadelphia is kind of 50-50 with me, and then back home against the Vikings. And I had this discussion with a friend of mine last night. He said, out of the 1 and 3 teams, who do you think is that one of the 1 and 3 teams that can pull themselves out of this hole? And I said the Minnesota Vikings are a legit team. I think they can do it. Out of the pool of 1-3 teams, I think the Minnesota Vikings. And let's go to the standings here. Out of the pool of 1-3 teams, let's see who we got. Let's start. We'll start with the AFC. We'll start it there. Miami Dolphins. Yeah, I don't see them making it out. New England Patriots. Patriots, after last night, they kind of gave me a little bit of hope. So they can be one of the teams. The Jets, trash. The Steelers, I have no idea what's going on with the Steelers, but they do not look good. And I did say in the beginning, I think the Steelers, well, I haven't given up on the Steelers, and you should never. It's only week 4. We're going into week 5 now. But the Steelers have not looked good. Ben Roethlisberger has looked his age. Next, the Texans, they're done. They're pretty much done. Unless they come up to their senses and start Deshaun Watson, which I don't think they will. The Colts, too many injuries on the offensive end. Carson Wentz is inconsistent and is missing one of his best wide receivers, so they're done. I don't even want to talk about Jacksonville. And that's it on the AFC side. The NFC side, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, too inconsistent again. The offense, I don't know what's going on with the running game, but they can't seem to run the ball, and the weapons on the outside are not very good. The Giants are just a bad football team. The Atlanta Falcons, again, another bad football team, no offensive weapons, and their defense is awful. And then there's the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I think the Minnesota Vikings as a whole, I mean, let's look at some of the games that they've played this season. They had the botched call against the Bengals at the end of their game for them to lose. They lost 27-24. They were in it on a last-second field goal in Arizona, and they lost that game, 34-33. They beat the Seahawks handily. And in the Browns game, injuries played a role in that, and they lose that game 14-7. They're a changed call and a missed field goal away from being potentially 3-1. They have the Lions this week. I think they'll right the ship this week. They'll beat the Lions. Because if you look at it, the Minnesota Vikings have an elite defense. They have veteran defense. I mean, Patrick Peterson is a beast on the outside. He's still an elite defender. They have a strong pass rush. And then if you look at the offense, Kirk Cousins, if Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, please stay healthy. But Anderson Madison is also there. And their receivers are elite with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson on the outside. KJ Osborne is good as well. But those are your two guys. And then Tyler Conklin is one of their up-and-coming tight ends, along with Irv Smith Jr., which is hurt. He's hurt right now. But I think out of those 1-3 teams, the Minnesota Vikings are the more complete team. And with their schedule that they have coming up, I mean, if you look at the schedule, there should be no excuse why they can't beat the Detroit Lions this week. Next week, this coming Sunday, they have the Detroit Lions. Then they're on the road at Carolina. Carolina's got the best defense in the league right now. That'll be a tough matchup, and Sam Bradford is playing well. Then they have the bye week. Then they have Sunday Night Football against Dallas on the road. That's a winnable game for them. They should be able to beat Dallas. And then they're on the road at Baltimore. But I think they have 2 or 3 winnable games in their schedule. If they were to be able to come up out of that, and then they're going to be going off the bye week going into Sunday Night Football against Dallas. So they should be healthy and ready to go. If Dalvin Cook can stay healthy and the defense play the way they've been playing, they can get themselves out of this hole. That's the one team I think will be able to do it. You heard it here first. Mark it down in the show. Carson back there is like, no, he's the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan. But big takeaway from this week, as far as the NFL goes, obviously the game, last night, Sunday Night Football between the Patriots and the Bucks was the big headliner game. The return of Tom Brady back to Foxborough. I was watching TV, just watching a movie and stuff. I could be on a random channel, obviously not the premium channels, but they were advertising that game like it's the Super Bowl. And I got a kick out of it, but it was a huge deal. I mean, you think about 20 years with one organization. How many Super Bowls does Tom Brady have? 6? 7? I mean, it's amazing to think like you've been as a fan of Tom Brady. If you were a fan of Tom Brady, he's meant everything to that fan base. Boston, they love him. Like he's legend in with the Patriots. So to see him go to another team, and I think part of it is, I think the fans, I think they're 50-50 on it. I don't think, I mean, they're sad that he left, but I don't think they're not that sad. And the meaning I say that is because they feel confident with Mac Jones being at the helm. They feel like they have another up and coming quarterback that's going to lead them to victory. So, in that perspective, and if you watch the game when Tom Brady came out of the tunnel, fans were cheering. They were yelling and screaming, "We love you, Tom." We love you. We miss you. Saw fans dressed like goats in the crowd. I saw a guy in the stands who had a Tom Brady number 12 jersey. It was half New England, half Tampa. But once the game started and he came out for his first drive for the Bucks, the boos rang in, which tells me that they've moved on, kind of. They love him. They miss him. Some of them are heartbroken in some cases. But when he came out for the opening drive, they're like, no, you don't play for us anymore. You're the enemy. Dude's got 7 Super Bowl rings. He's got 6 with the New England Patriots. He's got 1 with the Bucks. Obviously, they're the world champs from last year. And I mean, for me, I get it as a fan, and for me, I mean, I have personal reasons because he has beaten my Rams in the Super Bowl, and that was to give him his first win back in 2002. And I lost. I won't say how much I lost in the first meeting between New England and New York. So it's kind of bittersweet to see him come out like that, and I thought it was kind of funny. And then he breaks Drew Brees' record yesterday for all-time passing yards, which was amazing. And this guy is talking about playing for another 3 or 4 years. Insane. But I think the biggest impression I got from last night was Mac Jones. Now, let me tell you, New England won that game. New England should have won that game if it wasn't for that kick. It was raining. It was pouring down rain during the game. 56-yard field goal would have put him up. And you hear some people say, like, well, it didn't matter. I'm like, why would it matter? Because you would have gave And they're saying it would have gave Tom Brady all that time on the clock with 2 timeouts. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Can't deny that. I mean, there was like how many seconds? 58 seconds left with 2 timeouts. You can't give Brady that much time. And all they needed was a field goal to win. Way too much time. So a lot of people are saying maybe you should have went for it on 4th down. I'm like, look, you need to get all the points you can get. But it didn't matter because you saw the kick and it swung wide left and hit the pole. It was a 56-yarder in the rain in those conditions. I mean, you're supposed to be a professional. That's your job is to kick. But that was a tough kick to make. But I will say this. I'm very impressed by Mac Jones. Let's go to the numbers. 31 for 40, 275, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Quarterback rating of 101.6. That is impressive. This is a rookie quarterback on a big time, in a primetime game on national TV. Now, granted, New England couldn't run the ball worth a damn. As a team, 8 carries for -1 yards. That's unheard of. That is... It's awful. That is awful. You need to establish the running game, and they couldn't do it. Now, I know he got some injuries. James White is hurt. Damian Harris had 4 carries, but I mean, at the same time, I understand what the play calling was because you got to stick to what's rolling. Mac Jones was rolling. I mean, look at his feet. He was spreading the ball around yesterday. And Brady, I think the motions of this game, set in a little bit because, I mean, his numbers were pedestrian. New England's rushing numbers were putrid. But Brady was mediocre. And I thought, and I said this, I thought this game was going to be a blowout. I thought this game was going to be a blowout by Tampa. I thought Brady was going to come out firing. 22 for 43, 269, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Quarterback rating of a QBR of 55.3. It's not good. Leonard Fournette, 20 carries for 91 yards. Mike Evans was the leading receiver on both teams with 7 catches for 75 yards. And they didn't go to Chris. It's funny because they didn't go to Chris Godwin until like the second half. 3 catches for 55 yards. You got to get him the ball. I mean, you can make a case. I mean, they have 3 legit wide receivers, and they didn't have Gronk last night. No Gronk, Gronkowski. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. You can make a case for all 3 of those. Those guys, each one of those players can be number 1 wide receivers on any team. Period. But I think out of the 3, I think Chris Godwin he's younger. He's just as fast as Antonio Brown. I mean, Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin are both faster than Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a big receiver. But at the end of the day, the defense played well, and it came down to a final kick. Richard Sherman, they were picking on Richard Sherman all night. Richard Sherman just got signed on Tuesday, played yesterday. And you can tell he's familiar with the scheme, but he wasn't in playing shape. Not enough time to practice or get acclimated with the team. So, but you saw Richard Sherman out there getting roasted. Just getting burnt last night. So, but it was a great game. Did I think it got overhyped? Yeah, a little. I was waiting on the hug. That was the part I wanted to really see, was like the interaction between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's saying hi to everybody and high-fiving, handshakes and stuff like that. Here comes Belichick. Just a quick pat. He said something quick and he ran off. I was like, this guy. But are we surprised with Belichick? That's the way he does things. Play it down during the post-game interview. I'm like, come on, Bill, give us something. But it was not surprising. But great game last night to cap off a full day of football on Sunday. Tonight's game wasn't really much of a game. I mean, the Raiders made a game of it in the second half, cut it down to 7, ended up losing 28-14. So we move on to week 3. But my recap of week 4, Arizona. And I hate to talk about this, but Arizona is. I got some thoughts on this. Arizona, the last undefeated team left, sitting on top of the NFC West at 4-0. They won 3 road games. They just beat the Rams. They beat my Rams on Sunday. Not just beat them down. After most people, including myself, thought the Rams was the best team in football. I think we kind of jumped the gun on that a little bit. But Arizona's sitting at 4-0, the only undefeated team. So, I mean, my takeaway from all this, we saw some teams that took the next level, took that next step. The Bengals, they're 3-1. Now Buffalo, I think is my pick to come out. Is my pick to go to the AFC Championship game. I don't think they're coming out. I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be, at the end of the day, will end up back in the Super Bowl. But I think the Bills are going to give them a run for their money. We saw the Bills last Sunday take care of business, 40-0 win. But we saw some teams break away. The Cowboys are a legit threat. It's going to hurt to say that for a while. But right now they're sitting on top on a weak division. They're sitting at 3-1 right now. And what's going on with the Tennessee Titans? I don't understand it. You just lost to the Jets. Now, granted, they didn't have A.J. Brown or Julio Jones on Sunday. Derrick Henry had 33 carries. You're going to break this man down before we even get halfway through the season. You got to figure something else out. Chiefs with the big win. They needed that win. Seahawks also with another big win. The Seahawks needed that win. Now, let me tell you something about the Seahawks game, because the Seahawks played awful the first half. Awful. But that speaks to how badly the 49ers really are. Because the 49ers had plenty of chances to go up on this game. And the fact that it was tied 7-7, even through everything that happened in the first half, the Seahawks were still tied going into halftime. I was like, the 49ers are giving this team too many chances. But the Seahawks defense still have deficiencies on the defensive end that they got to fix. And why they didn't go with Chris Carson in the running game is beyond me. They were kind of splitting carries. Chris Carson and Alex Collins. Alex Collins, 10 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. He got that touchdown in the third quarter. Russell Wilson didn't have a great game. 16 for 23, 149, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 66.9. Jimmy Garoppolo went out at the end of the first half, didn't come back in. Trey Lance came in. Nine for 18, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Seahawks still have issues on the defensive end. Do I think it's hard to say where the Seahawks are at right now, because if you look at the 2 previous weeks, they have not played well. And they're on a short week this week, because guess what? Guess what Thursday night is? They play the Rams. Rams are steaming mad after that loss against Arizona. So Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Derek Henderson Jr. They're going to be ready to play. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, who is quite arguably probably the best overall player in the NFL. If that offensive line can't keep Russell Wilson upright, you saw it against San Francisco. They were back there all day long. Russell Wilson got sacked 3 times, got hurried about 10 or 11. Seahawks better get ready because the Rams are coming and they're angry. So, big recap. Arizona is sitting at the top of the heap at the moment, but will they stay there? That offense is elite. Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind. They got Chase Edmonds and James Conner in the backfield, and then the wide receiver core with DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, elite defense with J.J. Watt. They are something to behold, and I would be really worried if you had to match up with them. I mean, if you look at let's see what Arizona's schedule is coming up. So, is there a team that there's going to be able to slow them down? They should have lost that game against Minnesota, in my opinion. But hey, I can't knock them. They won the game, but that game was really too close. Minnesota was up handily in that game. Now that speaks to the Cardinals for coming back, but now they're going to be at home this week against the 49ers, who just came off that loss against the Seahawks. And Trey Lance is starting this week. They announced today that Jimmy Garoppolo has no chance of playing in this game this weekend. So you're going to see the first start of Trey Lance. Trey Lance came in and played well in the second half of the Seahawks game. So they have the 49ers at home. These are the next 4 games. 49ers at home. On the road against the Browns, another elite defense. Back home against the Texans. To say that's going to be a loss is an understatement, in my opinion. The Texans are a horrible team. And then Sunday Night Football at home against the Packers. That will be an excellent game. The Cardinals and the Packers. I don't know if the Cardinals have enough firepower to win that game, but the Packers defense is playing better. They're kind of mid-tier right now, but the offense, Aaron Rodgers told you guys to relax, and the Packers are rolling right now. So, but in other news, great weekend in the NFL. Hands down, I'll probably say week 3 was a little bit better, but the drama behind this week was really good. We had some other drama, and that's from Major League Baseball. Now, if you've been following, it came down to the last game of the season to determine the wild card seedings in the American League. And it basically came down to 4 teams. It came down to the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Seattle Mariners. Now, going into Sunday's game, which everybody played on Sunday, all the games started at the same time. Yankees and the Red Sox, all they had to do was win their games and they were in. The Seattle Mariners needed either the Red Sox or the Yankees to lose their game, and then they needed to win their game against the Angels. Red Sox was playing the Nationals, Yankees were playing Tampa Bay, and Toronto needed a lot of help because they basically needed one of those 2 teams to lose along with the Mariners to lose, and they needed to win their game. And after coming off the game on Saturday night where the Mariners came back and won that game to stay within 1 game of that wild card spot to get at least a tie so they can get in, it was some drama, to say the very least. Saturday night was an adrenaline rush. Sunday, though, the Mariners came up flat. Didn't matter. Yankees came back and won their game in the afternoon. Red Sox came in and won their game in the afternoon. So the playoffs are set. starting tomorrow. We have one of the two wild card games coming up between, and I know I'll be watching tomorrow evening. That's gonna be that's gonna be a hell of a game. Yankees at Boston with the Red Sox. Game starts 8 o'clock Eastern on the West Coast. Here you're out in the West Coast, 5 o'clock, and then the National League wild card game. You have the St. Louis Cardinals in LA playing the Dodgers. The Dodgers won 106 games, and they're a wild card team. That's unbelievable. That gives you an idea and a sense of how good the San Francisco Giants are, because they are far and away the favorites to win. But who's the hottest team right now? I would say it would be the St. Louis Cardinals. So it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. So Yankees, Red Sox tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 5 West Coast time, 8 o'clock in the East Coast. Cardinals versus the Dodgers. And then the winner of those will be determined. Tampa Bay gets in. They play the winner of the Red Sox and the Yankees, because Tampa Bay is the number one seed in the American League. The divisional series is already set in the American League because the White Sox are playing the Houston Astros. That series beginning after this week, coming up this weekend. In the National League divisional series, the Braves and the Brewers will match up. That series begins on Friday. The Giants will play the winner of the Cardinals and the Dodgers. So I'm going to make my predictions right now. This one's a tough one for me with the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Red Sox have the bats, but so do the Yankees. The Red Sox, I feel, have the slight edge in the pitching. But my gut is telling me that the Yankees are going to win this game. So I'm going to just give you both predictions right now. I think the Yankees will go on the road and beat the Red Sox, and I believe the Cardinals will go on the road. I think the Cardinals have the better pitching and the better... The Dodgers are the Dodgers. They have the best bats in probably baseball. But I think the Cardinals have really good pitching. So I'm rolling, even though it's hard for me to say this, but I don't like the Yankees or the Dodgers. I mean, not the Dodgers, sorry. I don't like the Yankees or the Red Sox. I don't like either one of those teams. But I think my gut feeling is telling me both road teams are going to win. And this I love the playoff system that baseball has because it's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. You can go on the road and win out. No problem. But I think the Yankees will pull it out at the end, and I feel the Cardinals are going to go on the road and beat the Dodgers. Which then sets up a matchup, if my predictions come true, will be the Tampa Bay Rays versus the New York Yankees. And baseball and the commissioners get the teams that they want in, because you got to have if you don't have the Yankees or the Red Sox in it to win it, or the Dodgers. Now, the team I want eliminated quick, fast, in a hurry are those damn Houston Astros. They're cheaters. And yet and still, here we are dealing with the Astros again. I cannot stand the Astros. Get them out of there. And my dad is from the south side of Chicago, so he will be cheering hard as much as I will for the White Sox to beat the crap out of the Houston Astros. Me as a American League West fan, because I like the Mariners. And by the way, and I want to speak on that real quickly. Congratulations to the Mariners, even though you came one game short The fact that you played relevant baseball all the way to the final game, 162, and had a chance to still get in, that's a credit to you guys and that organization from management all the way down to the staff. And that team is going to be, and if Kyle Seager ends up not coming back on the team, I wish him nothing but the best. He spent all 11 seasons here with the Mariners, and I know the Mariners are more than likely going to get moved to a more youthful group and try to get somebody on that edge on the third baseline. But Kyle Seager's a Gold Glove winner. Yeah, he hasn't had the bats. I've heard it all before. Kyle Seager had 35 home runs and over 100 RBIs this season. He's going to help another team out. Do I think he should get a hometown discount maybe? Or give us a hometown discount or something to make something work so we can stay on the team? I think so, but I don't see that happening. I think Jerry DiPoto is going to move on and get some more youth on the third base line, somebody with a better bat, and somebody with just as good of a glove. But if he does come back, I would love it. But the Mariners have a lot of talent. They're young. And they have some of those key guys that they had this season to get them to 90 wins because they ended up with 90 wins this season. And typically, on a normal year, 90 wins will get you into the playoffs. Or so you would think. But Mariners came up short. It tells you the parity about this league and how it is. And right now, there's a lot of good teams out there. The National League wild card, once the Cardinals won 17 straight games. They told themselves, we're making it in this bitch. Okay? We're not losing. And they wrote that. But the bigger picture of that is the collapse of the San Diego Padres. I've been saying it for all season. Just because the Padres get hot in the beginning, oh, we beat the Dodgers, we beat the Giants, we beat this team, we beat that team. We got so much talent. You got to play all 162 games. You can't get 80 games into it and thinking that you're just going to sustain by playing mediocre baseball in the second half of the season. They tanked after the All-Star break. Full-on tank. Pitching wasn't right. Couldn't get the bats going. Whatever. You let a team that was essentially dead to rights at the end of the season come back and win 17 straight games, some of those against you. There's heads going to be rolling in San Diego this week. maybe next week, who knows? But somebody's got to go. Somebody has to be to blame for this because they were up top. They were right there with the Dodgers. We already knew San Francisco was rolling. And then you do this. And it was a complete collapse. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some changes in that organization. But at the end of the day, the Cardinals are in. I'm happy for the Cardinals. And they play the Dodgers on Wednesday night. So to wrap it up, great show tonight. We got a lot to get into. We got some stuff coming up this week. Obviously, got college football Saturday. Got some big matchups coming in this week. Week 5 of the NFL schedule. Baseball playoffs get started tomorrow. Next week's show, we're going to be going through that definitely. Because by the time next week's show rolls, we'll be head first into the divisional series. And we'll also be in, see, this is my favorite part of the year because we got the playoffs going on. We're just getting started. We're probably a third into the NFL season. This is a great time. Preseason NBA has already started. The season starts on the 17th. We're about 2 weeks away from the NBA starting. And your Los Angeles Lakers getting back on the court. But that's another subject for another day. LeBron, get at me, bro. Get at me, LeBron. But, hey, like and subscribe, share the video, please. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the views, likes, subscribe, share. You can find me on Facebook. Um, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Next week we're gonna get into some MLB baseball. We will be probably in a divisional round, maybe wrapping up the divisional round. Divisional round starts this weekend, so by the time the show next week, we should be getting close because it's the best of 5 series. So we'll get either halfway into it. We'll be talking maybe um, NLCS and ALCS championship rounds, and then also week 5 of the NFL. Thursday, Seahawks, Rams, huge game for both teams, huge NFC West tilt. Next Monday night, they got the Colts and the Ravens from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Sunday Night Football, Buffalo and KC. I told you that's a huge game. And we're going to talk about all that. I mean, you got matchups galore next week. I mean, you got, besides those games, you got Dallas and New York. That's always a good matchup. Chicago, Vegas. How's Vegas going to react after this loss tonight? Philly and Carolina. Carolina needs to keep it up. Green Bay and Cincinnati. That'll be a good matchup. 2, 3-1 teams. So a lot of juicy stuff happening next week. Again, like, subscribe, share the video. Love you guys. We'll talk soon. Peace.